The day my fiancée left was the day I finally understood that success had become a burden. She wasn't angry, she wasn't shouting, she wasn't even crying. She sat across from me in a quiet restaurant, turning a spoon slowly inside a cup of tea that had already gone cold. For almost 10 minutes, neither of us spoke. Then she looked at me and asked a question I had spent years avoiding. Kingsley, when will your life finally belong to you? I opened my mouth. Nothing came out, not because I disagreed, because I didn't know. 3 months later, she was gone. For a long time, I blamed her. Now I know she wasn't living because I lacked money. She was living because I lacked boundaries. My name is Kingsley. I grew up in Eba as the first son of a family of 6. My father was a mechanic. The kind of man who came home every evening with grease buried beneath his fingernails no matter how hard he scrubbed. My mother sold food by the roadside. Before sunrise, she was already lighting charcoal. After sunset, she was still washing pots. By the time she came home, exhaustion followed her through the door like a second shadow. We weren't the poorest family around, but we were close enough to poverty to understand its language. We understood overdue rent. We understood darkness when electricity disappeared for days. We understood stretching food until payday, and we understood hope. Because in families like ours, hope is often the only thing people have left. Growing up, everyone said the same thing. This boy will change the family story. Relatives said it, neighbors said it, teachers said it, even church members said it. Every time I heard those words, I smiled. I thought they were encouraging me. I didn't realize they were placing a future on my shoulders. I studied harder than anyone I knew. Many nights I read under candlelight because there was no power. Sometimes I skipped lunch to save money for handouts. When I finally gained admission into university, my mother cried. When I graduated, my father called every relative he knew. When I got a job in Lagos, people celebrated like we had all won the lottery. For the first time in my life, I felt like I could breathe. The struggle was finally ending, at least. That was what I believed. The first request came 2 weeks after my first salary. My younger brother needed school fees. I paid a month later. My grandmother needed money for treatment. I paid a few weeks later. An aunt called. Her husband had lost his job. Could I help? I paid. I never complained. These were my people. The people who had contributed money when I needed school fees. The people who had prayed for me. Helping felt right. Helping felt like gratitude. Then one Saturday morning, my phone started ringing before 7. A cousin I hadn't spoken to in 3 years was calling. I answered. He spent 15 minutes asking about Lagos, about work, about life. Then came the real reason for the call. He needed money. After I sent it, another relative called, then another, then another. By evening, I realized something had changed. News of my success was spreading faster than success itself, and with it came expectations. Every solved problem seemed to create another one. Every person I helped introduced someone else who needed help. Soon I stopped feeling like a son, a nephew, or a cousin. I started feeling like an emergency fund with a heartbeat. The strange thing was that nobody intended to hurt me. At least I don't think they did. Most of them genuinely believed I could handle it. That was the problem. The more capable you appear, the less people ask whether you're struggling. They simply assume you'll find a way. Years passed. My career grew. My responsibilities grew faster. When I received my first promotion, my family celebrated. When I received my second promotion, they celebrated even more. Meanwhile, my actual life seemed frozen. Every raise disappeared before I could enjoy it. Every financial breakthrough became someone else's solution. One Christmas, I made a mistake. I mentioned receiving a performance bonus. I wasn't bragging. I was simply excited. Within 2 days, half the extended family knew. The requests began arriving before the weekend ended. A cousin needed admission fees. An uncle wanted business capital. Someone needed rent. Someone needed surgery. Someone needed school fees. Someone wanted money for visa processing. I remember sitting on my bed one night, staring at my banking app. The bonus had arrived less than 3 weeks earlier. Almost all of it was gone. Not spent on myself, not invested, not saved. Gone. I stared at the screen and laughed, not because it was funny, because I didn't know what else to do. Around that time, I met Ada. The first thing I noticed about her was how calm she seemed. The second thing I noticed was that she actually listened. Most people listened so they could talk. Ada listened because she cared. Our relationship grew naturally. For the first time in years, I felt like I had something that belonged only to me. She never cared about my salary, never asked what I earned, never asked what I owned. Instead, she noticed things nobody else noticed. Like how tired I always looked, like how often I checked my phone, like how my mood could change instantly whenever a call came from home. One evening, we were having dinner when my phone rang. My younger cousin, I answered. 10 minutes later, I was transferring money. When I looked up, Ada was watching me, not angrily, just quietly. "You do that a lot," I shrugged. "Family," she nodded, but something about her expression stayed with me. Months later, we planned a weekend trip. We had booked everything. For once, I was genuinely excited. The night before we were supposed to leave, my father called, a medical emergency. I cancelled the trip. Ada understood, or at least she tried to. Then it happened again and again. A dinner cancelled, a house viewing postponed, an engagement discussion interrupted. Every plan seemed to have an expiration date, not because we changed our minds, because somebody somewhere always needed rescuing. One night she asked me something. "What happens when we get married?" I laughed. She didn't. "Kingsley, I'm serious." I stopped smiling. She leaned forward. "Will we be building our future?" A pause, or funding everyone else's? The question followed me home that night, because deep down, I already knew the answer. The situation finally exploded during one of the hardest years of my life. My younger sister gained admission into university. My father's health started deteriorating. My mother's business suffered major losses. 3 major responsibilities arrived almost at once. For the first time, my salary simply wasn't enough, so I started borrowing. Nobody knew, not my parents, not my siblings, not my friends, not even Ada. I took loans to cover emergencies, loans to fill financial gaps, loans to maintain the illusion that everything was under control. Every month, I told myself things would improve. Every month, they got worse. Then came the day I applied for a mortgage. For years, I had dreamed about owning a home. Nothing extravagant, just a place that was mine, a sign that all those years of sacrifice had built something permanent. I walked into the bank feeling hopeful. The loan officer reviewed my documents. She studied the numbers, typed something into her computer, then looked at me. "Your income is strong," I smiled. Then she continued, "but your obligations are extremely high." The smile disappeared. She turned the monitor slightly. There were numbers everywhere. Loan repayments, financial commitments, monthly deductions, support obligations, the evidence of an entire life spent carrying other people. "I'm sorry," that was all she said. "I'm sorry." I walked out of the bank in silence, sat inside my car, closed the door, and just stared through the windshield. Cars moved. People walked past. Life continued. But inside that vehicle, something broke. For years, I had been sacrificing for everyone else's future. And somehow, I had become the only person whose future nobody was protecting, not even me. That evening, Ada asked if we could talk. We met at a small restaurant we used to love. Neither of us touched the food. She looked exhausted, not physically, emotionally, like someone who had spent years carrying a conversation nobody wanted to have. Finally, she spoke. "I love you." The words should have comforted me. Instead, they scared me, because I knew what was coming. "I really do." She looked down at her hands, then back at me. "But I can't keep doing this." I said nothing. Not because I disagreed, because I understood. "You are trying to save everyone." Tears filled her eyes. "And nobody is saving you." The restaurant suddenly felt very quiet. Then she asked the question that changed my life. "When will your life finally belong to you?" I searched for an answer. Any answer. A promise, an explanation, a timeline, something. But there was nothing, because I honestly didn't know. And for the first time, she realized it too. 3 months later, she was gone. Not because she stopped loving me, because she finally accepted that love alone could not fix what I refused to confront. For weeks afterward, I moved through life like a machine. Work, home, sleep, repeat. The silence she left behind was louder than any argument could have been. Then one evening, I visited my parents. My father was sitting outside. The sun was beginning to set. His hands rested on his knees, old hands, worn hands. Hands that had sacrificed for decades. I looked at them and suddenly understood something I should have understood years earlier. My father had spent his life helping his children become independent. I had spent mine helping people remain dependent. Those were not the same thing. That realization changed everything. The following month, I created a budget. For the first time, I included myself. I set limits. I created priorities. I stopped financing avoidable emergencies. I stopped rescuing people from problems they refused to solve. I stopped confusing guilt with love. The backlash arrived immediately. Some relatives called me proud. Others called me selfish. A few stopped speaking to me entirely. One uncle even claimed success had changed me. The truth was simpler. Exhaustion had changed me. Reality had changed me. Loss had changed me. But I no longer felt the need to explain myself, because not every misunderstanding requires a defense. The first year was difficult. The second year became easier. Gradually, my debts disappeared. My savings grew, my stress reduced, my future became visible again, and something surprising happened. People adapted. The cousin who always needed help found a job. The uncle who needed capital started smaller than he wanted. Relatives who claimed they had no options somehow found alternatives. Life continued. The world did not collapse because I stopped carrying it. Today, I still help my family. I still support my parents. I still contribute during genuine emergencies. I still believe generosity matters. But I no longer believe generosity requires self-destruction. Sometimes I think about Edda. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I had learned these lessons earlier. Maybe things would have been different. Maybe not. What I know is that losing her forced me to confront a truth I had spent years avoiding. Success is not measured by how many people depend on you. Success is measured by whether you can help others without losing yourself. Growing up, I thought poverty was the absence of money. Life taught me otherwise. Because the poorest version of myself wasn't the boy studying under candlelight in Eba. The poorest version of myself was the successful man who couldn't say no. The man who kept giving until there was nothing left for his own future. The man who confused sacrifice with responsibility. The man who believed carrying everyone else was proof of love. Today I know better. A bridge is meant to help people cross, but if too much weight is placed on it, eventually it cracks. For years, I was that bridge, and the greatest lesson success ever taught me is this: helping others is a blessing. Losing yourself while doing it is not. Some people spend their lives chasing success. I did too, then I found it. And discovered that the most important thing wasn't learning how to earn more. It was learning how to protect what I earned. My money, my future, my peace, my relationships, my life. Because the day your life no longer belongs to you, success stops feeling like success, and that is a price. Far too many people discover only after they have already paid it.